All right, in our first lesson of the day, goal 7.4, we are going to be talking about the slope of a line. A slope is simply a ratio. Ratio is just a fraction, so don't let that word be intimidating. Just a fraction, ratio, that describes the steepness and direction of a line. A slope is often referred to as rise over run. The rise being the up or down, and the run being the left and right, like if you were running. Okay? The slope of a line can be described in one of four ways. The first one here, which rises from the left to the right, it's going up, that's a positive slope. So in a little bit when we're graphing, and we're graphing a positive slope, we know what direction it should be going. Sometimes those don't match, they should. The next one, which goes down from left to right, that's a negative slope. The one that is horizontal line there, that is a zero slope. And the one that's vertical is a no slope. So no slope and zero slope are two different things. They're not the same. I'm going to refer back to goal 7.2 for a minute, because it's going to be important to put these pieces of information together. Back in goal 2, we graphed horizontal lines. We graphed special lines is what we called them. Okay? And so if it's a horizontal line, it has a zero slope, let's key in on the fact that, or remember that this is a y equals some number. So you want to know those facts together, that a horizontal line has a slope of 0, and then back from goal 2, we know that that was a y equals. A vertical line which has no slope, that's an x equals some number. So you want to piece those three pieces of information together. Now, I'm going to give you a little trick here in remembering the zero slope and the no slope. Okay? So, back when you were younger, really little, and your parents were telling you not to do something, they may have used their finger and said, Anna, no, no, no. What is the direction that my finger is vertical? Vertical lines have no slope. They didn't go no, no, no. Okay, so my finger is vertical. You can laugh all you want, but you're going to be going in your head on the test. You're going to do it. Trust me, I know it. Okay, so there's my little trick for remembering a no slope is the vertical. Then you know the other one's 0. Okay? Given any two ordered pairs, 2 points that lie on a line, because a line has an infinite number, but as long as I have 2, I can find the slope by using the formula. Yes, you need to memorize the formula. It's very simple. Those little 2's and 1's are not important. Just remember y minus y over x minus x. Subtraction, y's on top, x is on the bottom. So the most missed thing that people do in finding the slope is that they flip it. They put the x's on top and y's on the bottom. So here's my trick. If the y were on the bottom, and this was like a table, if the fraction bar was like a tabletop, and the y's were on the bottom, it would fall over because there's only one leg. But with the x's on the bottom, there are 2 legs, and it will stay. Okay? So there's my trick in remembering which one's on which part. Because that's what people miss the most. They don't miss subtraction. They don't miss the actual subtraction that you do. They mix them up and flip them. Okay? So my formula, as I said, these little 2's and 1's, they don't mean They're not significant. They don't mean anything except that I'm working with two different y's and two different x's. I don't know why the 2 comes before the 1, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Just know that it's y minus y over x minus x. Your job will just be to be consistent. So if you've done slope before, and there's a really good chance you've talked about slope before, okay? You don't have to take the one on the right minus the one on the left. I just work left to right. It does not matter as long as you do it the same for both variables, okay? So what is my m? I'm going to plug it into my formula. The formula, y minus y over x minus x. So y is 0 minus the other y, which is positive 5. And you don't have to draw these lines. I'm doing that only for note purposes. X, which is negative 2, minus the other x, which is a positive 1. So it's always minus. And then I do the calculations. If you are not good with working with positive and negative numbers, please just punch this in your calculator. I'm going to do them obviously by my brain here. So I'm going to get negative 5 over negative 3, which would then simplify to positive. Negative divided by negative. Make that a positive number. 5/3. That's my answer. A question. So I'm going to just repeat that process a few times. Talk about a couple different things that happen in the process, but same process. Okay, on my next one here. Same deal. Y minus y. So 4 minus a negative 3. Always minus when you're finding the slope. And then x, which is negative 3, minus the other x, which is a negative 2. Back from the first, maybe second, day of school, when I am subtracting a negative, what do?
You add a positive.
You add a positive. So this minuses become pluses. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time re-explaining how to add and subtract, but if you're not good with positives and negatives, then use your calculator. So I have 7 over negative 1, which I don't care if you leave it like that, but you could just make that a negative 7. I don't have a preference. Whatever you like is fine with me. Same process here. I'm going to take y minus y. So 0 minus a negative 5, x minus x, 7 minus 7. So my minus negative becomes positives, and I get 0 plus 5 is 5. 7 minus 7 is 0. You can't have a 0 in a denominator. You can't divide by 0. If you went to your calculator and punched in 5 divided by 0, you would get an error message that says, I don't know, there's an error message, so I do know that. 5 divided by 0. It says error, divide by 0. You can't do it. You can't divide by 0. If you ask Siri what 0 divided by 0 is, it tells you something about if you have 0 cookies and then you have no friends or something. Try it, it's kind of funny. So 5 divided by 0, can't do it. So what this tells me, this particular line has no slope. Which, back from my notes, is that a horizontal line or a vertical line? Vertical. Okay, so kind of start piecing those together. Okay, my next one here, m equals my y, which is 3, minus the other y, positive 11, x, which is 4, minus my other x, which is 1. I do my calculations, and I have negative 8/3, which can simplify no further, so that's it. That's the answer. Bless you. And my last simple one, I'm not finished with 7-4, but I'm finished with the simpler ones. Same formula, same process. Y minus y over x minus x. So I have 0 divided by 6. And if I go to my calculator and put in 0 divided by 6, I'm going to get 0. It's a real number. And just to kind of piece information together then, that would have been a horizontal line. So if you get a 0 when you're calculating, I want to know this next step. I want to know, is it a no slope or is it a 0? So if you get 0 on one of your calculations, make sure you go that one step further to tell me those two things, one of those two things. So I want to know that you know that. Okay, questions so far?